Well, we are now live and we ready to go. Well, I want to thank y'all for showing up tonight, giving me y'all time and y'all space. Well, we want to thank each and every last one of y'all. The sponsors tonight for this is Break Chains Make Changes is a nonprofit organization in Toledo, Ohio. They'll specialize to work and educate with men in our community to for every walks of life. That's who's sponsoring this right now. And we're going to have my co-host Jessica to introduce our guest tonight. You can't hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we hear you good. We hear you.
Well, I don't. I guess is some aspect stuff. Waiting for Jessica to tonight. Manny, I hope you ain't replaying that right now. Please give me another 30 seconds, please, because I don't know what's wrong with hers.
Yeah, it works. Shut up.
On yours? Hey guys.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm having a technical difficulty now. I don't know what's going on. But my name is Jessica. I just want to take the time out and thank everyone for being a part of this wonderful topic, this beautiful topic that needs to be talked about, mental illness and the effects that it has in the community. So we have some really awesome speakers tonight, and I do want to start off by introducing Miss Susan. She is representing our local area. And Miss Susan, if there's anything that you want our viewers to know about you, feel free to share that at this time.
Okay. My profession is a social worker. I have worked with different populations of people, and it doesn't matter a person's sex, social economic status, every set. It doesn't matter their race or religion. Mental health is across the board, and it is something that we need to take a serious look at.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Miss Susan. And the next person that we have, awesome guest, his name is Gilbert. He is repping our South Ohio area. I'm sorry, Gilbert. So if you want to feel free and let the people know about a little bit about your background and who you are and what you represent.
I'm a person in recovery from mental illness. I'm a living example that people can overcome it. I had to do the maintenance, but it's real. And I'm successful today at maintaining my life.
That is amazing. Thank you so much, Gilbert, for sharing that. And last but not least, we have Mr. Manassas Jr. Representing down south. And if you have anything you want to share with us, Manassas, go ahead and take it away.
He's muted. You're muted.
Let me unmute
Yeah.
myself. Can you hear me now?
Mhm.
Okay, good, good. So originally from Toledo, Ohio, I now reside in Atlanta, Georgia. I am in my junior year at Beulah Heights University, and I am honored to have the opportunity to participate in this discussion. Mental health is a serious issue in our community and across the world, and it's important and vital to have conversations such as these. And so I'm honored to be a part. And let's get it. Let's go.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys, for introducing yourself and a little bit about me. I am Jessica. I am also a person of lived experience of alcohol and drug addiction. That's what I suffer from, as well as mental illness as well. And I represent our Toledo local area. So I just wanted to share that a little bit about myself. We're going to go ahead and take another 30-second break, get everything back up and running, and we'll get this discussion started. All right?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I definitely apologize. You know how the enemy like to work, but we're gonna definitely have fun tonight. Well, a little bit about myself. My name is Keith, and I have a big mental problem, but I definitely work with it with God. He's my life and savior. I understand that on this earth for a mission, and that's what it's about today for my recovery. And let's get it started. And the first topic would be about Jessica.
The first topic tonight is mental illness or learned behavior. Anyone want to go ahead and start with that? Tell us your
Yeah,
point of
I'll
view.
start off with it. I will start off with it. So first and foremost, this is a great question to start off on, leaning off on a fast foot right here. So I'm gonna come from the spiritual aspect of it, bring it back into the natural, and end again on the spiritual. So on the spiritual side of it, Bishop Randall Parker, my uncle, love him to death, came to Manifest the Word Church. Shout out Toledo, Ohio. Preached a message a few years ago, and he said this simple phrase: replaying a painful memory over and over in your mind is a form of self-abuse. Toxic thoughts create a toxic body. Make peace with yourself. Heal your thoughts so God can heal you. Oftentimes, we have experiences that we go through in our lives that allows us to, or it changes the trajectory or the mindset that we have on our life because somebody took us down in a moment. It only takes a moment to make it only takes a moment to make a memory, but that memory lasts a lifetime. And so mental illness indeed is a learned behavior, because if my mother was a drunk and all I've seen all my life was my mother drink, that's what I'm going to want to do. That's the learned attribute. If my father was a drug, sold drugs and he was a dope dealer, all I know is how to sell drugs and be a dope dealer. So my mentality and my mindset has to change because it's a what? A learned attribute. And so, again, replaying a painful memory over and over in your mind is a form of self-abuse. Toxic thoughts create a toxic body. Heal your thoughts so God can heal you. That's my take on it.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Manassas.
Mhm.
Anyone else want to share? Mental illness is a learned behavior.
So I understand the concept of it's a learned behavior, but evidence-based practice, people who have studied mental illness, let's say what mental illness is first, so we'll have a clear understanding of what we're really talking about. Mental illness are conditions that affects a person's thinking, feelings, mood, or behavior. So when I look at mental illness, I have to think, and I throw this word out there, norm. Shut up. They know such thing as normal, but we think in society is what's normal. So if I think of a mental illness, they think I'm acting not normal. and that's what society puts on us when we act different from them. I do believe change your thoughts, change your behavior. I understand the Word of God did change my thoughts, did change my behavior, but to stick to the common terms where everybody can understand mental illness, it affects my thinking, my feelings, my mood, my behavior. And some people may be thinking I'm not acting normal, so I can say I've learned that it could be genetic. This mental illness, it could be passed down in the genes, and I also understand that certain factors in life affect how I think, feel, and act, even how I handle stress. So I may not have learned the right coping skills coming up to deal with these factors, or I may have a learned behavior that mom and daddy taught me, or something that I saw growing up. And I'll bring that subject up later.
My comments will be knowing the difference, because I believe there's a difference between mental health and mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Mental health can be someone who's just having a breakdown because they're stressed due to good or bad events. It could be things such as you're moving, and so the stress of moving, transitioning, getting things, being on a timetable, that can be a breakdown and cause a mental health issue versus someone whose mental health is due to a breakup in a relationship. But, but then when I think about a mental illness, I think of someone who has a chronic um, mental health issue that they're always dealing with and have to always be aware of what their triggers are and how they have to address those things to prevent, like deeper depression or anything like that. So I think a lot of times people can sometimes be confused between mental health and mental illness. Both are real. Both need to be people need to be sympathized for that situation and not think that it cannot happen to them. Not think that this person is just always self-induced depressive, anything like that. So we do have to be aware of what is really out there and learn the differences.
And I agree with you. There's a big difference between mental illness and the terminology of mental health. Yes, the difference is the illness affects our mood, feelings, and behavior. It causes depression, anxiety, bipolar. Whereas mental health, it includes our emotions, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think and feel, how we respond. So those two are very important.
That's good.
Okay. Let me chime in. I think mental health is a physical thing on one person. That's when they get passed down by the person not understanding what their mental situation is. I believe a lot of us, just speaking experience, mental was my life change. Everything that was changing and didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
My life was more of, it was one way, was this way. That means church, you do this, you do this, you do this. That's when I got switched out of that to another atmosphere and saw emotional abuse, physical abuse, smoking, drinking, sex. That means it was so unbalanced. Now I'm starting to take that in and having self not love for myself because I'm getting tore down. That means that's where I think we know people have mental issues, but when you pass it down to generation, is that a learned behavior? That's what it was. That's what this topic was supposed to be. More, is it a learned behavior, and how can we stop that? Because if I have a child and my child came out just fresh, just nothing happened, but when I start teaching this child something that this child was never meant to learn, that child grow up to develop a behavior.
I get you.
So go back to what you just said, developed or learned.
But that's the topic. What's one do mostly people have that we see today in our community?
Okay. So that's like nature versus nurture.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think the study shows early adverse life experiences that shapes a person's thinking, feelings, and behaviors. You expressed it very well, Keith. Your life struggle. I have the same thing. My dad left me sitting on the steps every Friday, and you would think, as a young kid, after 2 weekends of sitting on the steps, that I would get the message. Well, 2 years later, we're still sitting on the steps. I didn't learn. I didn't have a place to vent, and I sure wasn't going to tell nobody that I was hurt and upset. So I grew up being phony, acting like everything was okay, which affected my choices in life.
But you said you choose not to tell nobody. Why did you choose not to tell?
Back then, I didn't know. I was a young kid. I was 6, 7, you
That
know.
that mean
We didn't know to talk about our feelings because, you know, in our culture, and that's another thing that we need to understand, everybody's culture is different. We was told to shut up, sit down, be quiet. We didn't tell you, Mama, I feel sad, or Mama, I'm hurting, you know, Mama, I miss Daddy. Shut up, go sit down. You know, and that was some of the culture that some of us grew up in, where we wasn't allowed to express ourselves. So therefore, out of fear of being punished or maybe talked about in a bad way, I never said nothing, but I acted out. You know, I stole to get mama's attention. I lied to the boys going to the school, painted such a beautiful picture of the weekend me and my dad had. Shut up, it never happened.
Well, Michelle said this is Michelle put this on Facebook for us. Can y'all see it?
Yes.
Can you read it?
Yeah, Michelle Blue wrote, it has all to do with psychological, environmental, genetics, trauma, exposure, and etc.
I
And
agree.
I
agree.
agree. I'm like in between. Yeah, I agree.
And each component play a different part in a person's psychic or a person's makeup. We don't know how we're going to respond without the proper education, the proper mentoring. You know, it does. It affects every area differently, and every person is different. It affects them differently. I don't know what hurts you, Susie. You know, Mr. May. I don't know what hurts you. You know, unless you share it with us.
But I think it goes to what Mr. May and Keith talks about when you're tying in the spiritual as well, because if like sort of what I've been hearing too is some of those things is what Keith was saying that it can be learned, but then at the same time, the spiritual, if you go deep with it, the spiritual accent concerning it is that when we don't on the inside, if we're not a part of something that can strengthen us from within,
Mhm.
we have nothing. We're reaching out on the outside looking for help instead of drawing that power from the inside. I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and personal Savior, and that's my resource. I can't speak for other people, but if I do leave it to the world to tell me how I should respond to things, then I'm going to be all over the place.
Mhm.
That mean
Definitely is.
how do you think that we can exercise our voice with mental in our community? Because a lot of us, we go to churches, we go to these programs, and the problem never is at the church as much or as it at the community. But when we go back home to our environment, that's where that mental start coming in. Because regardless if I go to church and I shout and hallelujah and thank God for everything, but I go back and my bills and my kids and my husband or my wife still is the problem, I feel like, how can I still say that my mental is all right? Because only thing I'm doing is taught behavior that I go to talk to Jesus about my problems, and my problems gonna go away. And we pass it down to generations, and now we see so many kids, not even caring about mental as much because the parents are so much in Jesus. It's like I got a friend right now that his father, every time he talked to his father, it's all about go to the Bible, go to the Bible, go to Jesus, go to Jesus, go to Jesus. And he grew to hate Jesus because he wanted a father to talk to. He wanted a man to talk to. Yes, Jesus is good. I love Christ. If it wasn't Christ, I wouldn't be talking to y'all now. But some people, that's auto through at their child's growing up is go to Jesus, go to Jesus, go to Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Girls is getting molested by the Jesus pastor, or you know what I'm saying, you getting beat by the man that's in the church. You know what I'm saying? That mean when we talk about mental, I understand that everybody have their own point of view of mental, but the mental that's going on in our community today, that people will sit on a block all day and don't go get help. And the agencies only get and reach out to the people that they can just because of those social security number. That means it's even seeing kids come in, and a lot of us do things in the community, and we seeing people having children that should not have children, and teaching their kids everything that they're shouldn't, and that kid grow up in the system, and now these kids have mental problems now because they didn't get that I love you, or I respect you, or you're going to be a king, or you're going to be a queen. It's you punk, you just like your daddy, you a whore, all these things like this. That means how can you really say that? How can we really fix the mental when our family structure is destroyed to the core?
It plays a major part on what. Oh, go ahead.
No, you good. You good.
I was just gonna say it paints the picture of, like what everyone is saying. Like we're all in between. Like it could be genetic, it could be psychological, it could be traumatic, and it has to come a point where we have to break that. It's a generational curse. It's a generational cycle technically that needs to be broken, because a lot of reason why a lot of parents or caretakers are tearing down younger generations is because they were used to being torn down themselves. So it's a generational cycle that's going to continue unless it's not addressed properly, because mental health and mental illness is under control when it's treated properly. We need to find ways to get this issue treated properly. Not taking medication. If not, I'm not saying like everybody has to take medication, or like we have to really dig deep into seeing what is the issue. Why do you feel the need of calling your child a B word, or you know what I'm saying, like all type of things. I feel like it has to be addressed as a like going in the spirituality. It has to be addressed. Personally, that's how I look at it.
Well, Keith said a mouthful, and I'm curious to hear. I'm curious, and I'm and thrilled to hear what Ms. Brown and Mr. Dillard has to say. So I'm gonna say my little 2 points, and I'm gonna yield. Mr. Dillard had said, and Miss Brown that came back beside him, and he said the first thing that really stood out was that in the church, growing up, you are always taught. He said, his specific words, I believe, is our people. And when he said our people, it's flat out how it is. The black folks, we avoid, especially in the black church, having conversations. We avoid having conversations, and the person that want to have the conversation, it can't be a real thing. It can't be a real issue. We got to put up these facades. We got to put these facades as if we're okay and we're all right and everything is a dazzling dance to the daisy. It's a tiptoe through the tulips and everything is peaches and cream. But reality is, as Keith said, is at the end of the day, when you go home, you still hurt. When you go home, you still broke. When you go home, you still pick up the bottle. And the church is supposed to be a hospital. But real talk, the church is turning into a hotel. It's just another gathering spot. It's just another gathering place. It's just another place for some of us to have a family reunion.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we still go home with all of these ailments. And so when reality settles in and reality sinks in on the spiritual side of it is, where does my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and his righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest flame, but only trust in Jesus' name on Christ, this solid rock I stand. I can't speak for nobody else. I can't speak for nobody else's salvation. I can't speak for nobody else's mental awareness or mental health or mental illness. I can't speak for it. I can see it, but it's up to me if I acknowledge it or if I just turn a blind eye to it. And the reality is for so long, and I'm gonna say this, but for so long in the Black church, we turned our eye from it and acted as if it don't exist. And if somebody say they got an issue, we want to put them out as an outcast.
That's right.
And I like the idea that I said, my people, I'm culturally competent, and I know the Asian race don't go through some of the things that I go to. The white people don't go through some of the changes that I went through, but I've talked to all races, and they went through something in adolescence that formed their thinking, their habits, and their feelings. Mm-hmm. So when I think about mental illness, and I'm gonna throw this quick because I'm gonna get off that subject. The church is a spiritual hospital. Everybody in there is sick from the pastor down. That's why we all need Jesus. So it is a spiritual hospital. Thank you. So I'm gonna leave that alone. But to get back to the mental illness part, it does play a part. Now, what causes it? We have that scenario about what causes it. You know, when I think about trauma, sexual abuse, child abuse, for example, witnessing violence. It affects how we relate to others. It also affects my biological body. It affects my genes. And how do I treat that? Well, maybe it is sex, drugs, and alcohol. Hey, have fun, okay? It might be all of that. And then this isolation thing of feeling lonely. I grew up the most misunderstood man I thought. Didn't nobody understand me? Shut up. I was lying to myself. Everybody understood me. I didn't understand me. And when I got some understanding about what it is that I'm dealing with, low self-esteem, okay, I didn't like myself. I wanted to be like everybody else. I had a mental illness. I didn't like me. I had to overcome that. Now, mind me, as a child going to church, yes, ma'am, I did. Yes, sir. As a child going to church, I thank God for the faithful people that planted that seed of hope. Because when I was in my 30s, when I came to God moment, but I lived my life the way I wanted to, just a riotous and crazy and mad, who knows? But yet and still, in fact, I ended up on the medication because I was diagnosed bipolar, manic depressive. I'm the manic side. If I don't take my medicine, you'll spot me anywhere. Under the tree, at the liquor store, under the bush, okay? So now that I'm on my medicine, I can function at a lower level and maintain what I have. Mind me, I'm grounded in spiritual principles. Thank God for that I came to that understanding. But I didn't get that as a child. All I heard was come to Jesus moment. Okay, I'm with you, Keith. All right, pray to Jesus. I heard all of that. But when I got to a place where I could understand, so what do we do about it? I heard Keith, you asked that question. I say get involved. Even the Bible says go into the highways and the byways. So I say get involved. If I'm not doing nothing to reach my young people, if I'm not doing nothing to reach my community, if I'm not educating myself so I can speak the right language at the right time, then I'm doing what everybody else doing, pointing fingers because you act different. So that's the solution. How or what can we do to go out and reach my young people? I don't care what color they are. God don't see no color. Stop it. Our young people are being lost, caught up in this music, acting out, and they don't think they have a problem. So what about this number? 1 in every 5 people have a mental illness. So you can walk around in the crowd, or you can hang out at your church, wherever you hang out at, and you count 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh, that one got a problem.
Somebody got something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how do we all know the issue, but how do we and what do we do when it comes to helping people that have it? Because we can't, how can I phrase this? It's hard to tell somebody that you don't have a problem. That's one. And I work with a lot of people, and it's hard to tell them.
Defense mode. It'll put them in defense mode.
Right. That means how do you tell people nowadays that you have a problem for them not to get offended?
So get past my own shame and guilt. Don't be embarrassed to tell somebody I talk to a psychiatrist. You know, Black folks don't want to hear that. You talk to a psychiatrist. I take my meds. So when I got past my shame and guilt and was able to fess up, then I was able to tell my story to some people. And I'm still telling my story. Keith, you're telling your story to a group of people. Susan, Jessica, I know us. We are doing what we were called to do, going out, spreading the message. And we team up with folks that's doing the same thing. And the more we do this, the more we build this kingdom. Okay, I went there, Mr. May. The more we build this kingdom, the more powerful it gets. Right now, we're afraid to talk to the crackhead. We're afraid to talk to the dope boy. Let's get past our own fear factors.
Yeah. Since he took it there, since Mr. Dillon took it there, and I'm a yield. I promise I'm a yield. It was funny that he said that. I had a friend a couple weeks ago said the same exact thing he just said. He was at a funeral with the dope. His exact words was the dope boy money makers, and he said I never felt so uncomfortable being around these. I guess they were an older generation of people. Had to be in their 40s or 50s, and this he's about 23, 24, and he said, I was around the dope boy money makers, and I never felt so uncomfortable. And I said, I hung up the phone. I hung up the phone because that's the issue right there. That's the issue right there. No matter what your age is, young people say dumb stuff like that. Older people say dumb stuff like that. You are never so high up or high above that you cannot minister or be or understand or have sympathy or empathy for somebody that you don't know what they're going through.
Right, because you won't talk to them.
Because you won't talk to them. Because you want to have a simple conversation with them.
Yeah. Well, I think that plays a major. Oh, I'm sorry, Keith. I was gonna say with the sharing your story, speaking out, and relating to a lot of people that are dealing with the illness and the mental health. I feel like the more we share our story, the more we get our words and have them feel like they're not alone. Like, I have issues, you have issues, like you're not alone. It's okay to acknowledge it. That's the first step to recovery, is acknowledging that you have a problem. And I feel like if they see that we are standing up for them because we were in their place at one point in our lives, it'll be a chain reaction. Something, it has to change. It has to get better eventually. We just have to keep at it.
Michelle sent another one. I'm gonna have Jessica to read it. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. It says, I think it is very healthy to create plethora, thank you, of resources such as your faith, spirituality, therapy, counseling, support systems, and etc. One does not have to choose between one or the other. I am a Christian as well, but even in Proverbs, it talks about seeking wise counsel.
I like wise counsel. And I think I was about to say the same thing as she said, because thankfully there are a variety of things that can help, including having a good support system of people that you like. Hear that word? People that you like. I get to choose who I hang around today. Respect and trust, support from loved one, peers. I'm a peer recovery supporter myself. And appropriate professionals can help make a big difference on your mental health and well-being. So education will get them to say, hey, maybe something is going on that I need to look at. Us telling our stories, it will help them see, well, maybe there's something I need to look at. But it's going to take a group of us. I can't do this by myself. What's the young lady that gave the thing? Thank you.
Michelle,
thank you.
She's doing it on Facebook. She's chiming in on Facebook. But I want to say, and like I said, I'm gonna be transparent. Even in my mental stage, I always felt Christianity depressed me. I always blame, like, God, you depressing me. Like, this is some depressing stuff, reading this stuff and not the stuff not happening. Like, you know what I'm saying? I always got depressed about the Bible. And one day I asked God, and I was praying. I said, God, protect me from, and I shut my mouth. I said, and it is something that came over me to say, God, protect people from me, because I know who I am. Mm-hmm. And once I said that, it was like I started thinking, well, I put stress on me because I try to do everything else except what I'm supposed to do, because the word tell me to do it this way, but I want to do it this way. And when it don't work out this way, I get mad at I get mad at Jesus. I get mad at God. I get mad at the things that I know what he's really telling me. And once I start understanding who I was as a man, and first God called me to be a man. He don't call me to be he called me to be a man. And once I understand what a man role is, what God want me to do, that's when I start getting better understanding that it's not God confusing me. It's me confusing myself on what I want to do. And once I start understanding that, I didn't put the blame on the word because the word always stay the same. It's us as people, we interpolate it how we want to. And that's why we don't read, because usually we get the information from this person and that person, and that person told us this, and now we feel like this person is lying to us. Now we starting to get depressed and angry because a lot of us dealt with low self-esteem, depression, no one loving us, and we start hating people because of the things that we dealt with in life as a child. And when we get older as a adult, that still hurt us. You know what I'm saying? That still hurt us in a way that now I'm getting angry. Now I'm teaching my kids anger. You know what I'm saying? And this is a generation cycle. But what I had to do is I had to ask God every day, protect me, protect people from me, because I know what type of man I am outside of the line of what I'm supposed to do daily.
So, Keith, that is truly amazing that you recognize the change in yourself and you recognize God's purpose in your life. Okay. I too know if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be sitting here to Keith. So I give him all the glory. But let's look at the fact. And this is a true fact. Most of the people that we deal with that have mental illnesses, the God concept, and I'm going to use it in that frame of reference, is not logical in their brain because they think, why did God let this happen to me? So they don't want to hear nothing about God. So my prayer was, God, show me how to transmit you and never say your name. So that means, how can I be so heavenly bound that I'm no earthly good, because I know the name of Jesus turns them off and will push them away from me, and I'm their helper. Paul says, I became all things to all men that I might win some. What does that mean? If I'm talking to a spiritual crowd. So I became all things to all men that I might win some. Paul didn't go around beating people up with Jesus. Paul went around loving on people. Shut up. That's our job. So that's the spiritual aspect of that. Still, the reality of the matter is, I cannot talk God to 50% of the people that I meet that's dealing with a mental health or a mental illness. So how do I relate to them? So I have to meet them where they are.
But you meet them where they're at, and that's what I do. Like, God is my refuge to get up, to go down to some places I go, or sit where some people I sit at. It's not about Christ to them, really. It's about me having Christ for myself. But to understand that when you speaking to somebody, you look at them as where they're at, and you ask them, what's up? Like, how when I talk to people, especially the homeless population, I'm friends. We friends. I don't care about no title. Title is nothing compared to me because I've been homeless. I was in the bando houses. I slept in bando houses off and on since I was 16, 17. You know what I'm saying? That means I understand that I always wanted someone to help me, but I was that one that would run away because I didn't want nobody to change me. So that means, hold on. That means what I learned how to do to help people, I sit and ask them, what do you think today should be like for you? Because even if I say, well, I think you should do X, Y, and Z, that's my thinking. But the process of them is, no, I want to do this today. I've been working with a man over a year and a half. And sometimes I say, okay, God, I've been working for him a year and a half, and I see him keep trying to move, but something keep pulling him back. What do you want me to do? What God is telling me to do, don't worry about saving him as much as you trying to. Just know that what you doing is going to push him or somebody around him, because they'll see the impact that you doing in his life. And that's what I had to learn, because that's what God did. He never went into church to try to preach to people. He went to the alcoholics. He went to them places to try to reach somebody and say, hey, this is who can save you. This is who, because when we die, it's just me dying. It's not going to be my kids. It's not going to be my wife. It's not going to be it's going to be me. I'm going to be dead. You know what I'm saying? That means what I have to learn is, how can I stay strong every single day? And when I'm contacting these people, how can I let that spirit, that yearning that I have, jump on them? Let's hear Susan. She haven't said nothing. She just been chilling.
I know. Well, listen, it was a number of things you guys have said. Earlier, when Jessica was talking, I've been agreeing with a lot of what you guys been talking about, and I was thinking part of what we should do as Christians is our behavior should draw people more than our mouths. If we're genuine, sincere in the activities and how we deal and interact with one another, God does the drawing. So his glory will shine over a person. And it's supposed to be a person is attracted to you because they see God in you, not so much who you are.
Right.
So that's what that, it's like say less, do more. Also, it was it was something that Jessica had said, and it made me think about like taking pills. I was thinking about like with the mental health aspect of that. It's not so much because to me that's a cover up. It's something to suppress something, but it's going to always keep bubbling up. It's like getting to the root of it. That's why you're going to have ongoing conversations because and I know it's between the five of us, but like I don't know who all is hearing this on Facebook or YouTube, but when you're dealing with the spiritual realm, it's that's what it is. It's a demonic force that's moving through and it keeps moving. And so that's why you're going to have generational curses. That's why you're going to have things that happen to a person as a kid, because the whole thing is to discredit God. Not Keith, not Susie, not May, not Dillard, not Jessica. It's not, in the end, for me, it's not about us. It's about the demonic force trying to discredit God. Okay. So you're going to always have that unraveling. Um, like me, myself, my story is I was sexually molested when I was a kid. If I if I did not seek the help of God for my healing, I just was not going to be good as a mother. And what came out of it is once I was pregnant with my son, I then saw how that while I didn't have a personal fear for myself to be harmed, but I was then going to place that fear on my son, and I was not going to be able to raise him the way he needed to be raised. So I had to learn how to deal with that. When you're talking about mental health, is not just what happens. And I'm sorry, it doesn't just happen to Black men. Mental health happens to Black women too. If you find someone on the pole, what do you think that's about? When you find someone that's out on the street stripping, prostituting, what do you think that is about? That's another part of mental health that we don't really deal with when it comes to Black women. They are abused from the time they're born. If they're not pretty enough, if they're not light enough, if they don't have long hair enough, if their noses are thin enough. We were taught all that when we were coming up. We're just now really starting to touch the surface of that, about beauty being in dark-skinned women. And so mental health is all over the place. It really is. I understand it better within my own personal community, but I don't know what it's like for someone who's growing up in Russia, who's growing up in parts of Asia. I don't know, but it's going to move all across the earth, and it's going to attack people wherever it can get to them at. So that's sort of like where I'm at with that.
Yeah, and,
Okay.
and even hit on that, Keith, before you go ahead, is growing up in Toledo, growing up in Toledo, where some of you still are, versus living down here in Atlanta, being in Georgia. It's the same way that you look at it, saying somebody in Asia may go through this versus somebody in Africa may experience something totally different. It's just like that right here in the U.S. The way and the mindset the people that have up there in Ohio is totally different than what it is down here. And at the end of the day, it's about having, not just having. Let me go a step further. I'm tired of having conversations. So many of us want to have conversations, but it's about action. And then stop having conversations about saying what the action is going to be, act on it one, two times, and then K Sarah Sarah, whatever will be, will be. No, you have to be, if you passionate about something, everything you do, if you you have to be passionate about it. You have to have put some purpose behind it, because if you put the purpose behind your passion, you're gonna go for it. It ain't nobody or nothing gonna stop you, and you're gonna continue to do it over and over and over again until you see lives change, people heal, people deliver, people knowing. And this has been hit on multiple times throughout this conversation, that so many people, especially in a Christian community, we always want to say God this, God that, Jesus this, Jesus that, but forget all of that. Because at the end of the day, if you don't see the light of Jesus Christ in me, I really ain't said or did nothing.
That's right.
Yep. That go back to what Susan was saying. That behavior, the
It's just a
action.
it's just a bunch
Y'all
of
hit it
talk.
right
It's
on
just
the
a bunch of
nose.
fluff. And down
Yeah.
is the day. Down is the day. I'm speaking on behalf of the folks that's 30 and below.
Mhm.
Down is the day where young folks that's really got some issues, and Mr. Dillon dealt with this in the music that we may listen to, and the people that we may get involved with. We really got some issues that we brush over, and we act like it's all good and it's all copacetic and everything is everything, but deep down the reality of it is we broke.
Toe up on the inside.
Yeah.
So up
Yeah.
on
We are
Yeah.
broke.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like
So
Susan said,
can we
it's
can
the
we all
press.
agree now that we've had this short conversation that mental health it is a learned behavior. It is it can be generic.
Absolutely.
It can come from trauma.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So we can agree that we agree with all the best practice. It says that. So
Yeah.
solution wise, we talked about the spiritual aspect, right, Keith?
Yeah.
Okay. So naturally, Christian character, Miss Susie, I love it. Uh, Makes it attractive. We can't beat them up with the word of God, but where are they? Where are they? Because if this is my purpose, Mr. May, I need to know where I'm supposed to be working at.
Absolutely.
Well, I
So,
want I want to say something what Manny said, and I'm gonna put something on the screen for y'all to see it. Can y'all see it?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
know what I said.
Um, I'm a person for years walk down town and just pray and see people and try to help them. This gentleman right here, he's one of my dearest friends. Like I have homeless friends. I love him. You know what I'm saying? I really do. And this man right here, this is his home. This is his bed. He don't want to go into a shelter. This is his home right there where I'm looking at. And I cry, I weep sometimes because I say, man, you so talented, you so smart. And the mentalness of him, he can hold a conversation like if you never saw him and he's talking to you on the phone, you would never know his house is outside. This is how the mentalness is destroying, especially our black community. Because that man has so many gifts, and I'm not going to say what gifts he have, but he has so many gifts. And I talked to him, and he would just tell me little bits of pieces because he's been broken so many years, and he just checked out on life, and he feel like if he get help, somebody is going to hurt him again because he's been hurt since he was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and he don't want to give another person a chance. And when we helping people, you have to come to a grips and say, well, God, how and what? And I don't want to keep going back to God because I don't want people to think this is a God thing, but it is a God spirit thing.
it really is.
But when I look at these situations, and I travel a lot and I go to big cities, I see homeless people left and right just with kids. Um I was in New York a week ago, and when I say it was just so many children with mothers homeless, I said, wow. I said, Toledo, don't make sure they'll house every women they can. But in a big major city like that, don't can't do it. It's impossible. That means the mental go into that kid. That problem go into that kid, that kid may get raped before the age of 12. Or that kid may do drugs to feel happy. And it's like what Manny was saying. How can we, from this point, talking
talking online, but going out in our community and really giving them 100% of us. Like, I think that's where we're going to leave that conversation, because it's another topic I do want to talk about. And it's right here on the screen. Can y'all see it?
Mm.
Susie, Jessica, you can read it to them.
Do you think providers for mental health agencies really understand mental illness?
Let's go, Gilbert.
Many of us don't even know who those providers are. So we don't know where to go look for help. So that's why we're here to educate them. Who are these providers? And I think this thing with mental health has been going on long enough. There's organizations out there that's been operating for years. And people don't know these people. The average, your person laying on the ground don't know these people. Mental Health America, been operating for years. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services, SAMHSA, been operating for years. Department of Veteran Affairs, been operating for years. And I'm gonna throw this one out there because it's a new one. A National Certified Peer Specialist. They now operating. OMOS in Columbus, Ohio. NAMI, a National Alliance of Mental Health. These places are operating for years. Do I think these people really understand mental health? I think they do. Because we wouldn't have some of the, now, systemically, help me say this word, systemically racism, what's the proper term I'm trying to use?
Systematic racism.
Systematic racism. Does it exist in these things? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
For the brown and the black and the Asians, yes, it does. But I think they do understand mental health. Because peer supporters are at the table now, people with lived experience who have overcame provides a different aspect to their understanding. Because you know how the laws changed over the years, Keith. What they used to do to people with mental health. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, lock them up, give them shock treatment. Oh man, they thought that would solve the problem, but they learned different. So now I think today there is a better understanding out there in the agencies, and they're incorporating this one thing that's making a change in everybody's life. And all five of us sitting on this panel are change agents. We are, knowing that people with the lived experience can help another person. So I think the understanding today has improved. That's my take.
I understand. I just think that insurance controls too much of it. And so sometimes you can have a knowledge, but your delivery of services is based on what your reimbursement will be. And sometimes people are just going around in circles with no real change with them because your time is up.
I got that. I went to a conference and the subject matter was peer support, how to get funding for peer support. So I went. In that room, I was in there with 35, probably 35 to 40 other people. Mind me, there's only 5 blacks in the group, but those people were in there to learn how to make money. Did they care about people in recovery? Did they care about people? No. So we do have that, but then they have us. We care.
Yeah.
That's what we need to push.
That's right. You're going to get people, individuals within a company, an organization, an agency who do actually care. The problem, but this is my soapbox, I'm sorry. The problem is how to make more money, how to be the biggest company. And it's unfortunate for the people who need those services because sometimes what they need is a social worker to tell them, oh, Johnny doesn't need a pill. Johnny needs to be a part of a sports team. He needs to go out and run. He just has pent up energy. It's a lot of little things like that, but I'm so sorry. I have problems with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel the same way too.
I say stay focused, stay focused, stay focused. Just like the Bible, keep your mind stayed on Jesus. If he's giving you a purpose, I don't care what goes on around me. I'm on my purpose. And my purpose shows up every second I'm alive. So, stay focused, stay focused, stay focused. I don't care about they after the money. I'm there to do a job. Right. And I don't work for that agency. I work for God. So every opportunity God gives me, I'm going to say his name. But in the meantime, I got another job to do, help that person navigate to a better space in their life. Stay focused, stay focused. I don't care about you making no money. That's not going to stop my show. Okay, let me shut up.
What I want to say is I love being a peer. Like I wish I had a peer when I was in my situation. Like okay, Manny. Um, I love being a peer. I love being a peer because we can be us. We can be real with them. I'm not worried. See, I love being a peer because I really don't have to worry about the money. I can really talk to them how I want to talk to them. I don't have to sugarcoat nothing. I could tell them the real. I think a lot of agencies should make room for peers and respect us of where we came from and what our purpose is for their agency. Also, I've been into a lot of facilities that brought me on. They just brought me on because that they got a grant and they didn't know how to pit me into certain places. They were just using me for certain avenues. And I'm like, no, that's not what a peer is. I had to tell them like, hey, that's not what peer is. I don't take out trash. Or no, I'm supposed to be in the community with these people, with the guests. With I'm supposed to serve them. That's what my license. That's what I do. That's what I love doing. I wish someone was there for me, like I was there for half of the men that I work with, because the agencies is there for a service. Because I have to understand that is a business, regardless. They are a business, but are us as peers, we there to get people to recovery. That means I can't focus like you said. I can't focus on the money what the next person paycheck is. If I'm here to shine and show this person, I make sure that my money right. But my purpose is helping this person to understand what recovery is and what's the difference from me as a peer and a caseworker. I, that's my play. But we have two ish. I mean, I'm gonna pop two things on it that people saying on Facebook. Can y'all see it?
Jamil Adams, the issue is usually finding funding to pay for the services.
Whoa. Do anybody want to speak on that?
Yes, I just looked something up on that today. We need to educate ourselves on the laws. I'm trying to think of the website I was on this morning, but I was looking at the laws that helps us get paid for our services. I know the Medicaid billing, they're changing laws in there. Matter of fact, one got changed today. That's why I was there to help because they know the importance of peers now. So the funding is there. Come on, $8.8 billion got sent to the recovery field.
How much? Hold on. How much you say?
For the money hungry people, Susan. 8.8 million. 8.8 million. So now Medicaid has accepted telehealth as a billable service in the pandemic.
Wow.
So now that's a billable service.
Under peers for peers.
For peer supporters,
Oh
or
man.
recovery coaches, all of those, you know what they call us. But that funding is now available. And then also it's still billable for peer support services. I provide you, I know that people that are doing billing, they have a Medicaid number that you can fill an application, you can apply for, you can bill for your own services. Shut up with that number. But to get educated, I'm telling y'all, let's get educated. We're going to help the people in this now time where this isolation thing is causing more depression, more drug abuse, more mental relapses than ever.
Yeah.
You know, so we need to get educated about what's new coming down the pike so we can stay in the loop and keep our jobs and help other people get jobs.
That's right.
Mhm.
So
Um,
Medicaid billable, get your service number with Medicaid, my friend.
um, okay. I think a lot of I will go on to what she said about pay the service. I think a lot of people don't understand that it's help out here for mental. I don't think a lot of people know that. That means how can we let the people know about these services? Because I didn't know that peers can build that insurance though. I just found out because of you. Thank you for telling me. Um But Michelle sent another one also. Let's see what Michelle said. Jess.
I honestly believe that it varies. Some providers are in it for the monetary value and do not train their employees for longevity in efforts to cut costs and increase availability to clientele for reimbursements for funds. I also think it has all to do with each professional person to study to show themselves approved, obtain trainings, challenge the system, and empower your clientele base. This is why you see a push for smaller companies and independent providers standing against these. It cut off the rest of her post.
Well, I don't think you cut it off. I think she was saying something, but we'll leave it at
Oh, you think?
that.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
ah,
yeah, and I like
yeah.
that. I like that. I want to, because I'm hood, but I'm holy. So let me. I'm
Don't
gonna go
let
to the hood side of me.
don't let the Satanist
The-
fool you. No.
don't let the sanctness of me, the sanctity of me, fool you. I'm gonna go to the hood side of it. Stop boxing me in.
Mhm.
Stop boxing me in. The question I was posed is: do you think that providers for medical health agencies, really understand mental illness? Stop boxing me in. What do I mean by that? A white man, a white woman, a black man, a black woman, Asian man, an Asian woman, whoever you are, we always try to box somebody in. We always try to box that person in, and we never want to hear what they've been through. We never want to hear what they're going through. We never want to hear or understand, not just hear, but understand their story. We always want to box them in and put us in. It's like this phone. We always want to put them in this category. And if we got to set you in a category, and if you fit this box, because we had somebody previously that act just like you, that sound just like you, that was just like you, that went through just something similar that you may have went through. So I want to put you in that bubble. Don't put me in a bubble. Know and hear and understand my story. Know and hear and understand my struggle. So when you say, do you think the healthcare providers for mental health agencies really understand mental illness? Yes, yes they do. Yes they do. Money is an issue, but also not more than money being an issue. Don't put me in a bubble. Don't put me in a bubble. Take my money, but don't put me in a bubble.
And I think that's why they got us, because we're the voice now. And we know what the problem is. We even know what the solution is. And to transmit that in a positive way is our job. I see nothing but power on this screen. I hear power coming out there. And I'm not going to overlook my brother issues about the provider issue. It depends on whether I work for a grant funding company or I work for an independent. Independent will let you have that billable number. A company is going to bill for you. So who are you working for? So that might be why the fundings are there. I strongly tell you that they're there. It's who you're working for. If I'm an independent, then I need a number, and I need my application turned into Medicare for that approval. And someone else said something about has something to do with quality of service. That needs to be sustained for Medicaid, because they're going to look at you. They're going to ask people about you. Okay. Yeah. So us being the voice, this panel now opened the awareness of the mental illness and what can be done about it. We have a targeted population. Come on, we can start a project. Come up with a solution, and create another company. I want some of that grant money too. Shut up.
Right, if you're dealing people, you can make $1 billion on it. But if you're
Yeah.
only in the business for the money, then that's my problem. My issue is with that part of it. I'm not saying that we don't need agencies. I'm not against that. I'm saying the problem is sometimes people aren't in the business of healing. They in it because there is $1 billion grant money out there and they're going for it. That's where my issue is. And sometimes some people just may, if you have a single mom who's coming in because, oh, my son is just, I don't know what to do with him. He just, he's bouncing around. And then the first thing they want to do is give him 4 pills.
Yep.
I have a problem with that. If a 4-year-old is running around, that's what 4-year-olds do. Being honest, not looking for a way to be able to deal. That's where my issue is with it. And so that's what I was talking about.
Yep,
So
I feel the same. I feel strongly
I
about what
might
sis.
get connected to one of them services that are looking for a job. And when they offer me that job, I know what they're about, but I say yes to the job. I get in the job, and now I want to change everything. I don't like nothing about the company I'm working for. Well, guess what? I should quit and go find somewhere else to work for. Otherwise, I can stay there and still be the best me.
Yeah, you go ahead. I was answering the question, and the
Yeah,
question was, and it's all the time. Well,
I
yes,
want
they
us to
do
stay.
know
I
what
want us to stay.
Instagram
I want us to stay solution focused because I don't want the public out there thinking that they can focus on the negativity. The
No, no, no. They do need to be
is
aware so they'll know how to
it's
shop around.
real, and we need real workers.
Yeah.
We need
Yep.
compassionate workers. We need some faith-based workers to transmit this message to our people that's dealing with mental health. That God's sleeping on the ground. I pray God that He send you a way to reach Him and twist the nerve. God's gonna do the healing. You keep loving. So I just, that's our job. For those of us who's pulling from this energy that we're putting out today, about doing our job in the recovery field of mental health, knowing what mental health is, knowing what resources are available, knowing how I can help, okay? Because it's my purpose. I have passion about my purpose. And I have true, genuine concern. I'm not worried about what's wrong with you. I'm worried about what happened to you and what happened to you, what made you think the way you think. That's my concern. So we can get him past the pain. We got to get him past the pain and get them to talk about what happened, what formed their thinking, and will allow us to build that relationship with that person. And then that person may, if we do this thing the way God wants us to do it and just love, because that's my job. I got to do nothing but love. He'll do the rest. And he'll pull that person closer and closer to us. And the closer he gets to us, the more truth he's going to get. That's why my Christian character is very important on the job and off the job.
Well, we all had great points. Like I said, we all had great points. We have to do the work, and us doing the work may offend people. Us doing the work may be uncomfortable to ourselves because who we have to go reach and where we got to go reach. Because when we leave this earth, the problem's still going to be there. But we on this earth for a purpose, and all five of us know that we can reach one person.
Oh
And
boy,
if
I'm with you.
and if I know I can reach one person today, I know that person may reach that person and change their life
That's right.
because God had a plan for each and of us. And I used to be mad because I said, God, why did you send me to Toledo, Ohio? Like, why you bring me here? Like, but God, I always tell people I was born in Youngstown, but
Don't hate on my
Toledo raised me.
don't hate on my
No, 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 no. Listen to what I said. I said Youngstown. I was born in Youngstown, but Toledo raised me.
Okay.
And when I say Toledo raised me, Toledo showed me another side. Youngstown would have showed me death because that's where I was going. But Toledo showed me how to survive, how to get back up, how to understand when I think my mom or my dad supposed to love me, that might not be for that situation, but I know I have to love my kids because I can't do what my mother and father did and think things is going to be different for my state of being and my kids' state of being. I always tell my children that I have a door that I don't ever want y'all to see. And that's from my past. That's from my brokenness. That's from my hurt. That's from my letdown. I shine every day to my kids and make sure that my kids have a father, a friend, a person to talk to. My four daughters understand that I am that relationship that they'll seek out in that relationship that they're going to be at. That means I have to make sure that I stay improved to my wife, stay improved to my family, understand where I'm going because I see people looking. And if I do it that way, I'm not saying my kids will be perfect, 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 but I know that they don't have to fall in the point drinking, saying that they didn't have no father, drinking, using drugs because they didn't have no, you know what I'm saying? Or they got molested and stuff like that because their father wasn't there. My kids don't have to fight that battle because I'm here today. And long as I'm here today and understand that my purpose is to show my family how to come out of poverty, how to get off of welfare. All them things are mental things that our community needs to really focus on. Like it is so much things that's plaguing our community that is so ridiculous. It's from even the simplest things. You know what I'm saying? Even staying in the environment that we stand in, keep us in that mindset that we won't get out. That if I move to another city, I can be better. How about if we stay in this city and fix ourselves and understand our gift in this city and blossom here? That's when move on. But we have to understand our purpose. And like I said, is a lot of people need us. Is a lot of people need to understand what peer supporters are. That we not trying to take your job. We trying to advance your job. We trying to encourage your people to keep coming back to see you. We just going to be right there helping them walk through the streets. We going to be right there and meet them where they're at, where you what you can't do because you might be scared. Because a lot of the women, a lot of the people that's at these agencies are Caucasian women that ain't about to go into no cherry woods, no projects at night. You know what I'm saying? Yo ain't about to go under no bridges at night. That means the people that been there to understand the width to go to that. That's why we are here, and that's what make us powerful today. That's what make us glorified today to understand the gift that we have going through our trials and tribulation. I used to be mad at my situation. I'm a blessing today that I can speak about my gifts and everything that God put me through, and I can say my mental is under control today.
Yeah. I think agencies should me and Keith was talking about it a few weeks ago. We were watching um George Floyd's video before he during the situation, how it all led up to his death. And the whole time that we were watching it, you clearly could see that he was either on something. He was traumatic. He was traumatically, like, he was just distraught by an experience that he had with another cop before the cops that he had an encounter with before his death. And the whole time, if you would have listened to him, he like, I'm afraid, I'm claustrophobic, like I didn't do anything. Like he was just wigging out. You could tell something was going on. I feel like if agencies set up something to where we are out there on the front line with the officers, that could prevent certain situations like that, because they took that man's life and it was something traumatic that he went through, even dealing with the officer. I think it was like a few weeks before his death. So I think, like, I'm in between. Like, agencies, they do know, some agencies do know about mental illness, they do understand it, but some agencies don't, because like you said, they're not placing us in the right areas where we need to be effective. We need to be effective in areas like that where we can relate.
I agree with you saying, Jessica, but let me say it again for those who may have missed it. Don't box me in. Don't box me in.
What do
Send me
you mean?
out.
When do you mean? What do you mean when you say don't box you in? Because that's a
What,
general statement.
what I mean when I say don't box me in is she used George Floyd as a point of reference, and what I'm saying is it's this not necessarily stigma, but it's, well, in a way, it's this mindset, this thought process that all black people are like this, all white people are like this, all Asian people are like this, all Hispanic people are like this, and I'm gonna say it again: don't box me in, because I may be a black man, but my struggle may not be Keith's struggle. My struggle may not be Susie's struggle. My struggle may not be Mr. Gilbert's struggle. My struggle may not be Jessica's struggle. It may not be Joe Blow's struggle, and Joe Blow may be black too. Don't box me in. I feel boxed in, and I feel like I'm claustrophobic when people try to put us in this category. So when you say that peers or mentors to be on the front lines with police officers or with law enforcement officers, when I say don't box me in, I'm to clarify it. I mean, it's just because it's a black person or that particular incident that we're handling. Don't come with that premature mindset. Well, this is how I got to handle this man. This is how I got to handle this woman, because I know them. Because you don't know me. Don't box me in.
Don't box him in, please.
Don't
Don't.
box him in. We're gonna box him in tonight.
You boxed in, Manny. You boxed in.
this box that I'm in on this I'm on Zoom, but this on StreamYard, I feel boxed in.
But that's any situation. Like I feel like just helping people in the building is being boxed in. We need to go out in our community and
Mhm.
be out there. To me, being boxed in is just being stuck in the four walls. No, it's
No,
just like even with
So
you
Christianity.
miss, I think you missed
if
what I'm
you're
saying.
normal and you feel boxed in, imagine how the person feels with a mental illness.
Mm.
I got what you're saying, Manassas. I got you.
Don't categorize. Don't categorize. And to Mr. Gilbert, Mr. Dillard's point, don't categorize everybody. Put everybody in the same category because everybody's not in the same category.
Mhm.
Right.
Everybody's not in the same category, and we have this, and I don't know what it is. I can't put my hand on it, but everywhere we go, we always want to put somebody in the same. They always got to be in the same category. Box one, box two, box three. This person go here. This person go there. This person go there.
So how do I break the chain? So if because people are coming behind you. So how do I break this thing? We need to build a committee. Let's go educate our recovery centers or institutions uh, about being culturally competent. And
By just
that's what they use, culturally competent. Maybe they're not culturally competent. Maybe they're operating on bias. But people like us who can go share our story.
but we have the
help-
opportunity.
and we're already doing that. It's happening now. This movement, and I call it a movement, protest. Your president want to say it's a riot, but this movement is starting people to think, not only about Black people, about the whole system now, how it's been rigged for years.
It is rigged.
So it's good. So now is our opportunity to build a platform to where we can share our stories, share your opinion. You can share that idea or that feeling of being boxed in, and to open some other people's mind about how to deal with individuals on the individual basis and be open-minded about it. This is a platform that you're creating to where we can now educate the public. Okay? And it's going to be some people that work in these institutions that's listening to this stuff. Okay? And they're going to start to think, so I don't want them to think that we're only one way. No, we're for everyone. We're for everybody. The clinician, the psychiatrist, the person seeking help, and the person that don't even know they need some help.
That's it.
We're for everybody. And so whatever your gift is, we need to start operating in our gifts. If that's your gift, reaching out to the youth, reaching out to the homeless, if that's your gift to speak properly to these educated people bigger than us, to help them understand that maybe your thinking is a little bit different and maybe you might want to take on this new idea, there's a way to do this stuff. If we operate in our gifts, I don't know about you, but I'm ordered by God. I'm sit. I'm a sit man. I don't understand that.
I hear you. You in the text. I hear you.
Well, listen, great conversation, great topic. We're gonna allow, hold on, because I'm just learning this system. We're gonna allow Susan, because Susan have a business that she wants to promote, and I'm gonna give her the time to do it right now. Susan.
Okay. So my new business is called How About This? What I do is help people, specifically nonprofits, but I can help anyone with management consultation. It's really about helping them like market their business as well on the lighter side. But I'm looking into like their leadership inside their business, where people may need to move around, operating from a strength-based perspective. And so that's what I do. I have a website. It's called HowAboutThisLLC.com. You can go in there and check it out.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you, Susan, and y'all coming out and supporting Break Change Make Changes. And Break Change Make Changes is a nonprofit organization in Toledo, Ohio. They're specialized in working with men, educating men on self-love, self-care, and self-awareness. The address is 316 North Michigan. They are closed right now, but you can still find them on Facebook and book a scheduled meeting with them, and they'll have peer supporters. Apologize. And this is their number, the 419-332 26. Hold on, I'll definitely apologize. Three.
No, it's four one
Yeah, I'm
nine
sorry.
326 2231.
Worse is me. Okay. Well, do anybody have anything else to say?
Yes, I would like to say this. I just feel the need to say it.
Say it.
Um, the problem with this, unfortunately, is that our God is our God is looked at as someone as a God that does not care. It is not our God that does not care. It is too many people who claim Him that do not demonstrate care.
Ugh, she
And
hitting it fast.
I don't want to. I don't have to defend God. He's too big. He can defend himself. His glory proves itself. That's where I'm at with that. And so I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Anything
And
else?
I want to say it's help out there. Um, and we need to be resourceful when we meet people that's willing to get some help to know how to direct them and how to support them in their recovery journey.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, like when I always leave, and usually when I do stuff like this, I always pray and I always pray out. I don't mind praying. I love praying. That means I'm definitely about to pray. That's when we're gonna shut it down. That's when y'all can stay on the back end. Dear Heavenly Father, we just say thank you once again, Jesus, for allowing us to wake up, Jesus. We asking you, whoever it touched, Father, let it touch them, Jesus. We asking you, and we knowing that the mental problem is plaguing our community like plagues, Father. We asking you to open our minds and our souls in each man and each woman life, each family life right now, Father. We asking you, Jesus, whoever didn't receive a meal, Father, provide a meal, Father. We ask
Mhm.
Line down.
Yeah.
Keep you cutting out.
The devil is a liar.
to touch the
Yes, he is.
Unmute yourself.
Yeah.
don't say I was praying and I was muted.
Half of it.
No,
Uh,
have
As long
yeah.
as
it
long as
is.
God
All
heard
is
it,
well. All is well. All is
Yeah.
well.
Hallelujah. Amen.
Listen, we heard you when you
amen.
prayed, and
It
the
was
answer
nice
don't
meeting
fall.
everybody. Hope
Uh-huh.
to see. So we had to get together in person.